Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel In-Flight Music, where I go over music production tips and tricks. If you're new here, my name is Ian, and today we're going over a guitar plugin from Ample Sound called Ample Guitar Vintage Cherry. Don't forget, if you enjoy my content, please like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you want to be notified whenever I drop my next video. I appreciate your support. So here I have Ample Sound's Ample Guitar Vintage Cherry. This reminds me of Post Malone type vibes. Specifically for this tutorial, I want to go over the strumming option inside of this Vintage Cherry. If you do want to learn more about the different settings and options inside of the Ample guitars, definitely check out my Ample Guitar Semi-Hollow video. I'll leave the link in the description down below. But let's go ahead and take a listen to what this actually sounds like. So yeah, compared to the Semi-Hollow, this has a much more aggressive tone to it. I think it fits really well with the Post Malone vibes. But let me show you exactly how I got that sound. So I actually loaded up a preset called Children of the Sea, and let's actually go to the original preset. Here's Children of the Sea, and this is what it sounds like. But I did some editing to this one. And basically what I did, I went into the effects section and I changed up the reverb. And you can see I didn't really change it too much. I just increased the pre-delay and the reverb amount. And that just gave us a more lush sound with the aggressiveness of the guitar. But then I cloned that and I layered it with this guitar right here. With this second guitar, it's actually the default preset, but all I changed was the preamp, I believe. So the default amp has the pre-drive on and the volume cranked into the preamp, but in this version, I turned that down and I turned off the pre-drive, and that's how we get this cleaner signal. Then when you combine them, you get this. But like I said, I want to focus on the strumming right here. This is actually pretty intuitive. So the main section that you have to pay attention to is this grid right here. At the bottom here, you have single individual notes that you could click in, but up top are the strumming options. So you have a downstroke bass, downstroke treble, upstroke, mute 1, mute 2, and then these also say downstroke bass, down treble, and up, but there are alternate variations of these. So you could get a lot of expression out of the strummer here. So for example, all you have to do is just click in the spots that you want. I'm just going to make a simple strum pattern right here. You can delete any of these just by double clicking. You can also adjust the velocity of these by clicking and dragging up or down, and you could extend these notes just by clicking or dragging, and then you could get even more articulation over here with the strum time. You can adjust the release time, stroke volume, and then the bottom knobs are all humanization. So it will humanize the time and the separation of the notes and the velocity. It just makes it a little more random and a little more realistic. The knobs to the right, we have swing, quantize, and the time signature. I usually work in 4/4 time, but if any of you want to switch that up, you can. And you also have 8 different patterns that you could choose from. And then this section right here actually decides what chords you're going to play. So right now we're just playing C major over and over again. And you actually have 24 slots that you can enter chords into. And then to change any of these, you just click on the root note, and then you can click major, minor, minor 7th, major 7th, so on and so forth. And we also have inversions. So we have the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd inversions. You can also transpose your whole entire setup. Right now we're on C. If you went to C sharp, everything would transpose up one note, D, D sharp, so on and so forth. It would go up that many notes. So say you figured out what strum pattern you'd like, and you now want to arrange these, well, this is how you would do it in FL Studio. So let's go to a new pattern here. And in pattern 3, all I would do is just click and drag this onto your ample guitar. So now here inside of our piano roll, we now have that same strum pattern with the chord that we selected. And to make sure that you're not hearing that from the ample guitar itself, you can see that it's not playing right here. That actually sounded pretty sweet, combining playing the ample guitar and the piano roll inside of FL Studio. But you could also recreate that just with clicking in the strums that I accidentally played right there. But you'll run into this issue, which I did, where you try to add additional MIDI here, and you'll see that it just gets replaced. I do have a solution for that. It's because of how FL Studio is designed. It's not a traditional DAW. So you have these different patterns that you would have to select. So for example, if we want this D minor as our next chord, you would actually have to go to the next pattern. And then inside of your playlist, you would arrange this however you'd like. So you would go to pattern 3 if you want that as your first chord, and then pattern 4. And I'm just gonna duplicate that a few times. Another thing that I notice, I don't know if this happens in the other DAWs, but it definitely happens in FL Studio. You notice that the first note of these progressions tend to follow whatever chord you selected previously. So in order to combat that, you could simply just delay these chords just slightly. You can just click Shift and go to the right, and that should be perfectly enough. If you have your snap settings turned on, you want to hold Alt and Shift, and that way you'll ignore your snap settings and you'll just nudge it just a little bit. I gotta do that for this one as well. There we go. And now we have perfection. But say you absolutely wanted to do this all in one pattern, like myself, you can see that that's actually what I did right here in pattern 1. Actually, I have that in pattern 2. I have my drums on pattern 1. So here inside of the piano roll, what's great about the FL piano roll versus using the ample guitar strummer here, you'll notice that when I click these, you can't hear what's going on. You actually have to play this through. But inside of FL's piano roll, all of you should be aware that you actually hear the sound as you click it in. And you want to make sure that your ample guitar is in strum mode. So all you would have to do is just click play and it'll make sure that it's in strum mode. Another thing that I recommend is clearing out all of this. A quick way to do that, you could actually hit this clear all sequence notes and it'll delete everything for you inside of that. So now we're just left with our piano roll right here. And something that you'll probably notice is that you pretty much want the same strum pattern. Maybe you want a few changes here or there, but really, the main changes are what chords are being strummed. That way you keep the same rhythm going. If you keep changing up your rhythm, that could get a little convoluted for the beat. So I recommend just sticking with a good strum pattern that you find, and then just changing what chords you want to play. And a great way to figure that out, if you have a MIDI controller, like myself, you could actually see what range are the chord changes here. So starting on C3, that's our first chord. And like I said, you have up to 24 that you could choose from. So from C3 and 24 notes up, those are all of your different chord changes. So if I were to delete this, I could actually play along and change up the chords myself as the strummer goes along. So I'm gonna start on C, and you don't even have to actually hold down the note. You could just press the note and it'll trigger that chord from then on out. Going back to what I said, these notes are actually unnecessary where I doubled these up right here. Last thing that I want to point out, there are presets for this. So you can actually click this button right here, which says load pattern. And you have these different patterns to choose from, another folder and another folder. So there's quite a bit to choose from overall. And then if you sort it by category, you can see that you have quite a few different genres here, from alternative, blues, country, folk, funk, jazz, metal, other, pop, rock, reggae, R&B. So there is a lot to choose from in terms of just coming up with starting patterns or starting strum patterns for you to come up with. Then from there, if you want even more articulation, what I recommend is actually using this button right here and converting everything to a riff. But I'm going to save that for another video because this deserves a tutorial on its own as well. So once again, if you do enjoy this content, please like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you want to be notified when I drop my next video. Until then, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.